All right, guys, big changes are coming to the CrossFit season. As we know, over the past few months, we get updates and we just see, change after change after change. And I need your input. As a member of the CrossFit Athlete Council, I get to hear directly from CrossFit HQ. And we had our age group council meeting with HQ last week, got lots of information, need lots of feedback from you guys, and I thought this would be the best way to connect with you. What if you could track over 100 key health markers and catch potential issues before they happen? That's what Function does. I'm on my way to my lab test. Function is an all-in-one health platform with over 100 advanced lab tests covering everything: heart, hormones, liver, kidneys, thyroid, autoimmunity, cancer markers, toxins, nutrients, and more. Most traditional checkups only cover 19 biomarkers. Function goes 5 times deeper for a complete picture of your health. Instead of guessing, you get clear, unbiased insights. No supplements or prescriptions, just facts about your body. Testing is simple. Schedule at one of 2,000 plus locations. No at-home kits, no mistakes, just professional lab results. For $499 a year, you get all 100 plus tests. Want to try Function? Go to functionhealth.com/Jason Grubb to skip the waitlist and start owning your health today. So today I want to talk about some of the key issues and get your take. Why does this matter now? Because it seems like CrossFit is trying to listen to us, and so we have a voice. My job is to gather everything that you want to say to CrossFit and then share that with CrossFit. So let's see how this goes. I hope that we're able to provide quality feedback to HQ and they're able to take action on that feedback. So drop your thoughts in the comments anytime in this video or after you're done watching, because I'm bringing your feedback straight to CrossFit HQ. In the CrossFit Athlete Council last week, Adrian Bosman was on the call and he laid out an agenda for us. First question from HQ, and here's where I need your feedback, is how many workouts make sense for a semifinals weekend for Masters athletes? Our semifinals is virtual, and right now the schedule is workouts are released on a Thursday and they're due at the end of the day on Sunday. So that's Thursday afternoon or evening, Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday to complete workouts. How many workouts within that time frame make sense to have a fair competition? I have my opinion, but I want to know what you guys think. Is 3 workouts enough? Is 4 workouts enough? Is 9 workouts too much? What do you think? My thought is that somewhere between 6 and 7 scores would be great. I think the more tests, the better. At the same time, you have to be sensitive to those athletes that may have to work on a Friday. So they may only have maybe Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday all day, and Sunday. So we have to think about being as fair as we can to all the athletes, but also at the same time know that this is a unique competition. And if you were going to go travel to a competition, let's say the Fittest of the Coast, which I just competed in, you might be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That may be your weekend. So you plan for big competitions like this. So I think it's fair to say that you're going to try to compete Friday, Saturday, and most of the day Sunday, keeping in mind that you do have to get a video uploaded before you submit scores at the end of the day on Sunday. So you need a little wiggle room on that. Should there be different numbers of workouts for different age groups? Should the 35 to 50-year-old age group have a different amount of events or workouts in that weekend than maybe the 50 plus, 55 plus, 60 plus? Or should everyone have the same amount of workouts? Again, just want to hear from you guys on this. Another question, are back-to-back tests or 2 score tests fair for online competition? Maybe there's one workout that's for time or an AMRAP and then a couple of minute reset and then another workout or a max lift or max repetitions in something. There's 2 scores. Again, that's a really interesting way to create breadth in the test without adding a ton of time to the test. What do you think? I think back to some of the semifinals tests that we did in the past. I remember thinking all the way back to when this used to be called the age group online qualifier. We had this amount of time, although we had Monday as well. It was typically Thursday through Monday. So that was nice. And we might have 5 or 6 tests. I remember the way I would approach it is I would do 1 or 2 tests on Thursday, 1 or 2 on Friday, 1 or 2 on Saturday. I'd rest on Sunday and then I would repeat some on Monday. And I really liked that rhythm. Although it was stressful, I liked having a little wiggle room in there to repeat workouts if something just went disastrous or if I had a technical failure earlier in the week. Now that we have a compressed timeline, more compressed than we've ever had, we have to think about, do we want to have a little wiggle room to retest a workout if something just goes way wrong in a workout? Maybe a battery dies on a rower if a rower is in the workout, or the timer stops, or the camera has a mess up. It's always nice to have a little wiggle room, but that's on us. It's on us to have redundancy. It's on us to have new batteries in our rower. So maybe that doesn't even come into play, but just definitely something that we want to think about and consider as we think about how many workouts it makes for online semifinals. Next, this is an important one, movement selection. What's fair in an online competition? For example, which movements should not be included in an online competition? Are there movements that are just too hard to judge? We found out last year that dumbbell step-ups could be a little bit tricky if you didn't stand up and open your hips fully. If you're doing barbell front squats, sometimes that hip crease can be a bit of an issue, but should those be removed? Bar facing burpees, burpees over the box. I mean, look, let's just remove burpees from all competition altogether. Maybe we could vote for that. That would be fun. But in all seriousness, what movements should we not have because they're just really hard to test? Another example that comes to mind is walking lunges, maybe a certain distance, 25 feet or that kind of length. Is that hard to do in a gym, right? Is that hard to film because you have to have your camera so far away to have 25 feet of length? Or does it make sense to have those types of movements because it's important to have that tested? Shuttle runs, remember, were 25 feet as well. And you did have to just kind of figure out creatively where to put a camera. What are some things I'm not thinking about? What are some movement patterns and tests that we should not see in an online qualifier? Should movements be age group dependent? For example, are ring muscle ups something that we should see in the 35 to maybe 60-year-old age group, but not in the 60 plus, the 70 plus? Or should those athletes in those areas maybe be doing something like ring muscle ups, but if they can't do a ring muscle up, there is a way to get a score by doing burpee pull-ups. Maybe 3 burpee pull-ups is equal to a ring muscle up, and you're able to still get a score if you scale. But if you can do that higher skill movement at that higher age, you should be able to be rewarded for that. Is that something that we should consider? Is that something we should shoot back to HQ as some feedback? What other adjustments should be made that I'm not thinking of? Leave it in the comments. For the CrossFit Games, actual in-person competition, how many workouts are too many? What's the most amount that we should see in a 3-4 day test? Or what's the minimum that we should see in a 4-day test? At the CrossFit Games in 2024, I believe we had 8 tests. I think it was 2 tests per day. I'm 90% sure. Should we see more? For Masters athletes, should we see something like 11 or 12 tests? Or is that too many? But what's the minimum? I think we want as many tests as possible, right? Because we're there. All we're doing there is being tested. And the more tests, the more rounded the overall event can be. But what do you think? Is 2 events per day fair? Or maybe 3 events one day, 2 events one day? That gets us to 10 events. And should different age groups have a different number of tests? Should younger age groups have more tests? Older age groups have less tests? What do you think in the CrossFit Games competition in person is the right amount? And let's just say that that's 4 days of competition. And they didn't ask this, but what do you think about this? One of the critiques about the last CrossFit Games is that there wasn't any long workouts. There wasn't that 5K. There wasn't that 40-minute chipper or a big workout. And while those are really taxing, those are really challenging overall, we've had those in the past. I think back to one of the toughest ones was 2019. We had the 5K ruck run, 6K actually, 6,000 meter ruck run, and it got heavier and heavier and heavier each 1,500 meters. It's the same workout that the individual athletes did. When Matt Frazier lost one of his weights out of his backpack, we did the same thing. I believe that was day 1, and that messed us up for the rest of the weekend. But I loved it, and it was long, and it was hard, it was grueling, but that is why we're tested at the games, and that was very cool. Should we try to have those types of longer events in the CrossFit Games in 2025 and beyond? All right, those are some areas where I need your feedback. And if there's other areas of feedback you'd like to provide, go ahead and take this opportunity. Leave those comments in the notes as well. I'll see what I can do about getting any kind of feedback back to HQ. But these are the few topics that they're really looking at right now. And so we might as well oblige them with our thoughts and our feedback. A couple of things that you're going to want to know about this particular season if you don't know already. First of all, for the CrossFit Open, it's going to run as standard. For Masters athletes, unless you plan on getting one of the top spots in the world among all the age groups, you do not need to video record your workouts. You need to have a judge, but there's no new requirements for the CrossFit Open this year as far as qualification goes. For semifinals, this is where it gets really important. First of all, you need to have a judge. This judge needs to have their level 1 from CrossFit. They need to have completed the judging course and the advanced judges course. The advanced judges course is a second course they need to have in order to judge you during semifinal competition. As a side note, when you take that advanced judges course, I believe that covers you for 3 years of judging courses. So it's a little extra investment of time and energy this year, but it's going to save you time and money in future years. You also have to have a head judge present who has a level 1 and has passed the advanced judges course as well. You need to have both of them there. They both need to have shown up in your video during semifinals. Now, where I'm doing semifinals, and all Masters athletes are welcome to come to us. This is an open invitation. Come on down to Birmingham, join us at CrossFit Boulder, at Pivot Fitness. We have a head judge. That will be Dave Hardy. He is someone who is one of the head judges at Fitness of the Coast this last weekend. He judges all the time. He's gonna be our head judge for all of the athletes. Each athlete will have a floor judge. There will be a level 1, have passed that advanced judges course. Some of us will even judge each other because we have L1s, so we just have to spread that out. But we will have a head judge and we will have floor judges for each other. You have to have that for your semifinals events. And just like in past years, you have to video record the entire workout. All of those requirements will be the same, having a judge in there, and whatever the requirements are that CrossFit dictates on the scorecard this year, you have to do that in your video. The new thing this year is you have to upload it to YouTube, not any other service, not Vimeo or some other service. It has to be on YouTube. You have to provide that link when you submit your score to HQ at the end of the semifinals weekend or whenever scores are due. It has to be YouTube. Question came up, what about YouTube? Copyright issues if the video can't be made public because of copyright issues. There's a number of things that you can do to make sure your video is viewable. You don't have to make it public, but it just cannot be private. So there's public, unlisted, and private. If it's private, no one can see your video. If it's unlisted, anyone who has the link can see your video. That's what it has to be. And if it's public, of course, anyone could search and find your video. So unlisted or public is what you have to do. And if you're worried about music in your video causing a copyright issue and maybe your video not being viewable, what YouTube usually allows you to do is to turn off the music during that section of the video, so that part of the video will be silent. That's not a big deal. You can always use copyright-free music. There are Spotify playlists that are copyright-free playlists. You can have that running in the background as well. But a safeguard that I always like to do is while I'm saying my name, my age, introducing myself to the camera, if for some reason there was no sound in this video, I'll write all of that on a whiteboard and I'll show that on the whiteboard as well, just to have redundancy. I'm also always recording my workouts with 2 cameras, a GoPro and an iPhone or something like that. You always want to make sure you've got that covered. So this year, you've got the video, you've got 2 judges in place, and after all of the videos are submitted, after the deadline, for 1 week, the videos will be made public for the world to see. And we don't know all the details about this, but if you have passed your judges course, you will be able to go out, review videos or flag videos for HQ to review as well. So this is one of the changes, which is nice because last year we felt like we didn't have enough video review. It didn't feel super transparent, didn't feel like a lot of eyeballs were on our videos. This year, there could be thousands of eyeballs on our videos, and that's a big correction. Is it an overcorrection? I don't know, but it's a huge correction, and generally I think that's a good thing. We want to just make sure that the right people are getting qualified to the CrossFit Games moving forward. So that is the judging and video standards. That's something that is new this year. Second, you've heard about grips and equipment. So this issue with grips, there was some feedback provided to HQ on the call asking that they would provide even more clarity about what types of grips are not allowed in live competition at the CrossFit Games and what are allowed. Okay, so first of all, any grip is allowed in the qualifier. So during the open, during semifinals, you can wear any grips on your hands. It doesn't matter. Don't stress about that. At the games, what they're trying to avoid is rubber grips. They wouldn't provide more than that. They wouldn't say what brand of grips would be a problem. They didn't say, what level of tackiness, but if the grip is sticky and it's rubber, and generally if the bar needs to be wiped off in order for the grip to be stickier, that would be a grip that would not be allowed at the games. They're looking for leather or synthetic leather. That's as specific as they're gonna get. We did provide feedback that it would be great for them to show us specifically, maybe in a video, what that looks like. I think we get the point. I think it's pretty clear. I think maybe there are some grips that might be just right on that line where, is this a rubber grip or is it not a rubber grip? There's other grips where, it's shiny. That's a pretty good indication that it's rubber. So there's definitely grips that are absolutely not okay, and it's really clear. There's other grips that are maybe more on the line, and then there's grips that are leather or just straight up synthetic leather, and it's just no question. They're not going to provide a lot more clarity on that. They're not looking to single out any individual grip company. That's where they're at on that. And we even pressed them, but that's just where they're going to be there. That's the update, guys. Wanted to share that with you and get that out to you as quick as I could so that you can provide us with feedback to get back to HQ as quickly as possible. Semifinals are coming fast, and we want to be action-oriented here. To recap, I'm looking for your comments. How many workouts should be in online semifinals? What movements should we not see in an online online competition? Or what are your thoughts about different movements and substitutions, those kinds of things in online competitions? How many workouts is too many at the CrossFit Games or not enough? Talk about the Games in-person competition, assuming that it's 4 days for Masters athletes. And while they're not requesting feedback on the new judging rules or the new video rules or grips, feel free. If you'd like to provide some valuable feedback there, I will pass that feedback along. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your input. Thanks for watching. If you need anything else, just drop a comment. I'm always here. I'm always happy to help. And as always, guys, your best days are ahead of you. Fortune favors the bold. We'll see you next time.